And welcome to Hannity, and this is a Fox News alert. In the wake of the Supreme Court ruling in favor of Hobby Lobby and religious freedom and against the Obamacare contraception mandate, the White House, not surprisingly, is criticizing this decision. Now, Press Secretary Josh Earnest told reporters that it not only jeopardizes women's health, but that Congress should act and try and mitigate this ruling. For the very latest on the administration's reaction to the monumental decision, we turn once again to Fox's own Ed Henry. He's standing by tonight again at the White House. Ed, I bet there's pretty fierce reaction.
That's right. Good evening, Sean. The bottom line is the president is not backing down at all. Instead, today signaling he's going to double down on the go-it-alone strategy. In fact, daring Speaker John Boehner to go forward with his lawsuit to try and stop executive orders. The president at one point literally saying, "So sue me." And Josh Earnest, the White House press secretary, made clear that includes not just the president pushing Congress to act on contraception coverage, but the president potentially taking executive action to expand that coverage in the wake of the Hobby Lobby case. The bottom line is Republicans were firing back today that they think the president right now should be pulling back, not going full steam ahead.
If Congress won't act, the president will consider a range of options for addressing this problem. The fact of the matter is we're still reviewing the decision. We're still reviewing how large the group of people is that's affected by the decision.
The Supreme Court ruling, I would have thought, would have humbled the president, maybe make him think twice about possible executive overreach. But I really think it's just business as usual for the Obama administration. The HHS regulations, EPA regulations, is just kind of the way he does things.
Now, Democrats see expanding contraception coverage as a golden opportunity to fire up their base ahead of the midterms. Meanwhile, executive action on immigration reform could fire up Hispanic voters before those midterms as well. Josh Earnest noting today that the president has ordered a review of what he can do on his own to reform immigration, fix the broken system without Congress. That review is expected to be done by the end of the summer, right before the midterms, though the press secretary insisted there's no connection to politics. Sean?
Hey, Ed, just a quick question here. It's Hobby Lobby. It's the recess appointment decision. Also issues involving his legislation on Obamacare, not enforcing immigration law, not enforcing work requirements for welfare. You know, Dick Durbin used the phrase borrowing power. Can one borrow constitutional power?
No, I mean, look, what's happening with these Supreme Court cases is you see the president having his wings clipped a bit here, deep into his second term, over executive power. But his side of this is that, look, if the Republicans on the Hill are not going to move forward on his agenda, and he's becoming more and more of a lame duck, he's going to double down on this strategy.
All right, Ed Henry at the White House. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. And we're going to have much more on the Hobby Lobby decision all throughout this hour. But first, also developing today is President Obama's plan to bypass Congress once again in an attempt to push through his agenda when it comes to immigration reform. Now, the commander-in-chief announced his intention to take executive action in the Rose Garden yesterday, blaming House Republicans for their failure to act on a comprehensive immigration overhaul. Here with the very latest from the border is KFOX reporter Bill Malusian is with us. Bill, what's going on?
Well, just yesterday, President Obama announced that he intends to use some type of executive power to completely skirt Congress and get something done regarding this immigration issue. Typically, when we think about illegal immigration, we start picturing people trying to climb over the border fence or dig their way underneath it. But a Border Patrol spokesman tells me that's not what's happening. He says these Central American immigrants are showing up to border crossings all across the state of Texas, walking up to agents and simply asking for help. Now, here in El Paso, we've been getting buses and planes full of these immigrants sent here by the federal government because the South Texas agents are simply so overwhelmed. Border Patrol agents are telling me as soon as those immigrants arrive here in El Paso, they're immediately given a medical screening. If they pass it, they're turned over to ICE. If they do not pass it, they're sent to local hospitals. Now, I've been in contact with 4 of those hospitals. They've all told me they've been treating dozens of these immigrants for minor things like fever, lice, and scabies. The El Paso Children's Hospital tells me they've already racked up a $60,000 bill treating these immigrants, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. The hospitals all told me they've been informed by Border Patrol to expect at least 1 busload of these immigrants from South Texas to arrive here in El Paso every single day for at least the next 3 weeks. That means all these hospitals, they're going to be put on a round table. Each day, one separate hospital is going to be responsible for giving medical care to these immigrants. Now, the big question, who's going to pay for all this? According to Border Patrol, the federal government is. They're telling me a federal program run by ICE called MedPAR is going to pay for it. Basically, what it is it covers these detainees, their medical care, their dental care, their overall health care. And Border Patrol tells me every single detainee is covered. Sean?
All right, Bill, thank you. Meanwhile,